Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Green Witch Homestead. Today is the much anticipated and sometimes slightly dreaded seed sorting day. Today's the day that I'm going to go through all of my seeds and see what's savable, what is nearing the end of its lifespan, and what I'm going to plant in my garden this year. Looking for ideas on seed storage. I got this idea from Jessica over at Roots and Refuge Farm, and it's a great one. It's these little plastic containers, which are actually for storing photographs. They're not airtight, but they are plastic. They've got a good seal on them, so they're not going anywhere, and they are the perfect size for most seed packets. They're clear as well, so you can see what's in them. So it's a really great way to sort and organize and keep your stuff. She does a much better job of it than I do if you want to go check out some of her videos. But that's just one of the things that I use. There's a lot of different things that you can use for seed storage. So far, I like this method the best. When I do my seed sorting, I usually put everything in kind of categories. So like tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, squashes, melons, stuff like that. And then I see what I have and I go from there. I do tend to take everything out of these boxes and reorganize them and all that fun stuff. It's not not the most efficient way, but it's my method. So once I have everything sorted into groups, and I go through and I look and see what I have and what I want to grow. Now, we are still early in the season, so this time of year I don't really focus on things like cucumbers, melons, beans, because they really prefer to be planted directly into the ground. So I'm mostly going to be setting aside anything that is going to require some time inside to get established before it goes out into the garden. Out of all my seeds, most of them just go into a single container, but things like tomatoes and peppers, because there's such a wide variety, so I like to sort those out. I've split my tomatoes, and tomatoes that I'm growing this year in my garden, I'm doing the Dr. Y cheese, or witchies, depending on who you learn to pronounce it from, which is a nice big orange kind of yellowy slicer tomato. Everybody loves this one. I'm also growing these two varieties. This is the Great White Tomato and this is White Beauty. These guys are really neat. They were very mild, very low in acidity, great for just munching on. They still had that wonderful tomato taste, and they were white when they were ripe. We're kind of a pale cream color. I do have Black Beauty seeds, but I'm probably not going to grow these. The main reason why I'm not going to grow these guys again is because they have a very, very thin skin. So if you live in an area that gets a really fluctuated rain flows, like sometimes you'll have a lot and then sometimes you won't have any at all for weeks, these are not a recommended tomato. That thin skin, if it gets overwatered, is going to split really easy and cause all kinds of little scarring and marks on your tomato, which are not going to make them appealing at the market. I do have cherry tomatoes, and my favorites that I grow, I have the Brad's Crazy Cherry. Yes, it gets that many fruit on it, and they're little yellow pear-shaped tomatoes. They're delicious. Also from Wild Boar Farms, I do the blueberries and the blueberries and cream. These taste amazing, they look amazing, and they're just fun to have. And when you have a little bowl on your counter that's all kinds of colors, people just can't resist it. So a lot of the cherry tomatoes I grow in my garden for our personal snacking, and I will sell the plant starts. I don't sell a lot of cherry tomatoes at the market, they just don't appeal as much. My big red slicer tomatoes, I've got a lot of different ones that I use. My favorite, which is my Hungarian Heart, and the Arkansas Traveler. These two are my personal favorites. I will grow them in my garden. I probably won't put too many in because, again, with the market garden situation, the Hungarian Hearts and the Arkansas Travelers are kind of a pale pink to reddish tomato when they ripen, and that doesn't appeal to a lot of people. They look like an underripe tomato, so the average market goer won't purchase them. When you're doing the market, you really got to know your customers and what they're looking for and what they want to buy. So some of the things that I have for my market, the new one for me is the German Johnson. It is a big red smooth tomato. I always do the mortgage lifter tomatoes because you cannot beat these in producers. If you're getting sauce tomatoes, these are amazing, as well as the Roma tomatoes. I got some F1 hybrids, which I introduced to you before. The Big Beef, Early Doll, and Red Pride. Now these are all big red slicer tomatoes. It's hard for me to do not heirlooms because I like saving seeds. Now you can save seeds from an F1 hybrid, but you're not guaranteed to get that exact same tomato next year. You'll get a tomato, you just may not get that tomato. As for my peppers, I'm a little weird when it comes to growing peppers. I like to make hot sauce. I like fermenting, so making hot sauce is kind of just something that fell into my lap. I have a few people in my life that like eating different hot things and they really enjoy the hot sauce. I haven't started selling it yet. I am going to kind of delve into doing that this year. Personally, I don't like hot peppers. I don't like spicy. Jalapenos are like my level. That's it. This is as far as I go. So it's fun for me because I absolutely adore growing and cooking with hot peppers, but I won't eat them. I've made countless hot sauces with habaneros, with scorpion peppers. I've worked with my Carolina Reaper last year. I've never actually consumed them. So my pepper garden's a little weird. I do grow the traditional bell peppers and things like that for the market garden, the ones that people want. I do put a couple hot peppers in that are fun for the market garden. I tried one last year that I actually fell in love with, which is the habanada, which is a habanero pepper that has no capsaicin, so it's not hot. And it was actually really delicious. It was a very prolific pepper, and it kind of had a sweeter, slightly fruity bell pepper taste to it. Absolutely adored that. I saved some seeds from those, so I will be growing those again. Some new ones that I'm trying is these Corno de Toyo, kind of like the Hungarian yellows. I will be growing cayenne. I always grow cayenne pepper. It's a good medicinal as well as super easy to string them up and dry them for cooking and long-term storage. Cayenne pepper is a must-have in your garden for a lot of reasons. I also will be growing my little jigsaw peppers. Now they're purely ornamental. The pepper doesn't get much bigger than this. It's not really useful, but the plant is absolutely beautiful. It's got these variegated leaves with colors of purple, white, green, pink. Absolutely gorgeous plant, and I like planting them in my little boxes along the fence line just to be a showpiece. Other peppers that I'm going to be growing, reseeded some chocolate Carolina Reapers, as well as growing bell peppers for the market garden. I will have all the colors of the bell peppers, and they are always going to be a big seller. When you go to a farmer's market, it's fun to have the things that you like and that are really unique and interesting, but if you don't have the classics on your table, especially when you're selling produce, it's going to be very difficult to draw customers in. You keep the customers by having that unique thing that nobody else has, but you draw them in by having the things that they're looking for. So you always want to kind of balance your table, make sure that you've got your classics like your big red juicy tomato and your pretty green and yellow and red bell peppers and your nice straight cucumbers and some pretty black zucchinis. Those are good things to always have. Another fun thing that I didn't know and I like to put out there for new market gardeners is early in the season, leaf lettuce, kales, all those leafy greens, they sell really good at a market. People are really looking for them, especially if you've got them pre-prepped into baggies where all you have to do is dump it into a salad bowl and go. Those sell really, really well. So that's about it. The tomatoes and peppers, and we're still a little early, so I'm not going to be seeing them for a couple more days, but I've got those all sorted out. So let's take a little walk and see what else is going on the homestead. I wanted to show you I have blooms and a little tiny fruit on my orange tree, so I'm super excited about that. Those blooms smell amazing, by the way. I'm going to be trying something with these LEDs, the string light that I got, which we're going to save that for another video, because I'm going to get it set up and see how it works first. We got cabbages, kale, and lettuce plugs growing right there. Got our cauliflower and broccoli just about ready to go out into the high tunnel for growing. And I've got a sweet potato. I've done this method with the sweet potato before to start the slips. This one's growing a little weird and funky, so I'm not sure what's up with that. But it is growing, so we're going to get some sweet potatoes. Just a few little updates. The high tunnel did hold up through most of the winter. It's actually really hot in here right now because it's about 60 degrees outside today. I do have my cilantro is still going strong. Everything else has gone into its dormant phase. I am cleared out most of the leaf lettuce and things we were eating on through the winter. As you can see behind me, I've got to prep these beds, put down a little bit more compost, and get them ready for the cabbage and cauliflower. We have one more day next week where it's going to drop down below freezing. I think the high is like 20 Fahrenheit, so after that, we'll just keep our eyes on the temperature forecast and address it accordingly, because it does get very hot in here. I will probably wind up taking the ends off. I don't want my cabbages and things in here on days like today without having a way of opening and letting the air come through. This is the showpiece garden where we're going to be doing the Victory Garden side. We still have to burn down some more of this wood. I've got all of that year's worth of rabbit manure and leaf litter built up down there underneath that, so that's going to all get tilled in here in the next couple weeks. You can clearly see we still got some snow and ice on the ground, so it's not quite time for that yet, but we're getting close. It's a little slow going this time of year. Progress doesn't happen quite as fast, but we're getting there. We're almost to March, and March is when you'll see everything start happening really fast. And the wind's picking up out here, so I'm gonna wrap this video up. I did get my first official goose egg for the season, and now that we have our male goose, I should hopefully be getting some eggs to hatch out and start my gosling program. The Toulouse goose that I have is a fairly sought after goose for being a nice temperamented goose to have in your yard. We'll have one more thing to offer at our markets for bringing money into the homestead. We're also only a couple days away from the chicks hatching, as well as my order of new chicks coming in from McMurray Hatchery. And then I will have my flock all rounded out with the breeds that I want, and we can get to work on the infrastructure for moving the chickens down into the main field and having our spaces for my selective breeding program. So I'm excited about all of that. Lots of things are coming together. Things that have taken years to get into process and in the making are falling into place. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it was kind of all over the place. I have so much fun making these for you. I'm glad for all my new subscribers that have joined our channel. I hope you stick around. Ask questions in the comments. I try and answer them as best as possible in my videos or in the comments themselves. Remember, last week was our Fermented February video, so if you want to enter into that contest to win the Mason Tops Fermenting Kit, you still have another week to comment and like on that video, and we will be doing the drawing at the end of February. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget, get your hands dirty.